A samurai at first, and then a ronin, Miyamoto Musashi is viewed to be the biggest swordsman ever in the records of Japan, in massive section due to his nearly surreal discipline. Indeed, it is being stated that he fought 60 duels, and by no means misplaced one. He fought for the first time when he used to be 13 in opposition to unskilled samurai, and got here out victorious. He took down the best swordsmen at that time, 1-1, till the throne used to be his, and his alone. However, Miyamoto was once extra than that. Not solely used to be he a grasp of his craft. However, he used to be additionally an artist, a cerebral philosopher, and a Buddhist. He sought meaning, wrote combat and philosophy books, and his work grew to become a blueprint for people who desire to stay a disciplined life. A week earlier than he died in 1645, Miyamoto Musashi wrote 21 standards known as Dokudo, by which he expresses a stringent, honest, and ascetic or strongly self-disciplined view of life. In this video, we are going to see what made Miyamoto so disciplined, and how we can use this knowledge to construct our personal discipline. A satisfactory that has been cherished and revered with the aid of human beings, given that the sunrise of time, by embodying discipline, we're making certain that our independence is respected and our dreams are fulfilled. If human beings are disciplined and have an honorable way of conduct, the USA or civilization will simply thrive. So with that in thinking right, here are 4 lifestyles teachings about self-discipline from the phrases of Miyamoto. Musashi: avoid doing things just because they feel good. Avoid doing matters simply due to the fact they experience good. Miyamoto says, do not seek pleasure for its own sake. From a very younger age, he sacrificed traditional wishes and the course of remedy in order to focus on what he wished to grow to be and to remain genuine to the route he meant to follow. He located the pursuit of a luxurious home, high-quality food, and fanciful possessions distracting. Now, let's think about a model of Miyamoto that decides to indulge in these pleasures that do now not serve his common goals. To wake up late each and every day, or robotically consume prosperous dishes that lack nutrition. Do you assume he would have long gone a long way in creating his abilities and turning into the best swordsman in the records of feudal Japan? Probably not. Today, in an ever-stimulating world, there's an abundance of pleasures, which for many brings with it a lack of meaning. And in accordance to many greats of the records of humanity, having that means is what truly makes us happy. In the present-day world on the spot, pleasure has in no way been greater without difficulty accessible. However, the unhappy reality is that continuously indulging in pleasures does no longer lead to happiness. It can lead to a feel of vacancy and even dependency in excessive cases. Today, pleasure is so effortlessly accessible, it's nearly scary. You simply want to pop your telephone from your pocket to get the immediately dopamine hit we all crave. In the attention-driven financial system of the cutting-edge world, pleasure is one of the most valuable currencies. You're nearly by no means out of its sight. Whatever you're doing, there's usually any individual, a product or provider, lurking in the background, luring you in the direction of false guarantees of happiness. The antidote of pleasure is meaning, believing in something that absolutely dictates your days in a way that can solely pass you forward. No be counted the temptation, no depend the pleasures that are surrounding you. We want to seem to be at these who succeeded in discovering that means and war pleasures, like Miyamoto. Miyamoto felt that indulging in pleasure steals time from us, due to the fact time nicely spent is when you do something that matters, and that feeling has no equal. As a ways as Miyamoto used to be concerned, even if you compound all of the pleasures of life, it nonetheless doesn't measure up to the feeling of reaching a most important goal. Doing what things will usually be the actual supply of happiness. Just think about how proud you would experience if you succeeded in, for example, analyzing each and every single day for at least 15 minutes, for a complete year. Picture yourself with a wholesome body after education difficult for months and months. Just suppose about the day when all of your efforts to begin your commercial enterprise sooner or later pay off, and you begin seeing clients coming in numbers. How does the fleeting happiness generated from a momentary pleasure really fare subsequent to the happiness that outcomes from achievement? Picture that subsequent time you sense the temptation to snatch your cell phone as a substitute of doing the less immediately satisfying factor you absolutely favor to get done. Focus on one thing. Focus on one thing, and increase your horizons in it. In the phrases of Miyamoto, practice and apprehend the awareness that by using understanding one way, you know 1,000. Miyamoto devoted his existence to learning the sword. When he was once younger, he educated from nightfall until sunrise recklessly, and pushed his boundaries further and further. In fact, he left his domestic village when he used to be 15 or 16, to tour the US of A and learn from the quality masters, and to undertaking any fighter that had a recognition for dueling. A quest that would amazingly by no means see him fall brief and lose. Miyamoto feared none. His aspirations have been related to none, and thanks to his irreproachable, reckless training, his capabilities grew to become second to none. His technique would be identified and feared, and even though Miyamoto realized simply one art, he knew how to categorical it in heaps of ways. We presently stay in a world in which we are showered by means of infinite chances and opportunities, something that we have to cost and acknowledge. And so, one would possibly suppose that quicker or later, each person finds the proper chance that is aligned with one's personal aspirations, and that eventually, all of us will become fulfilled. But truth is hardly ever so straightforward. Indeed, these many chances can frequently provide beginning to even better anxieties, so often in reality that there is even a time period for it. Decision paralysis. It's like when you enter a self-service buffet, you have the proper to put whatever you prefer on your plate, and at the establishing your enthusiasm is immeasurable. But the extra you think about what's in the buffet, the extra anxious you become. Indeed, many scrumptious dishes may be laid out for you, however the human belly is only so big. So you serve yourself a bit of this, and you take a little bit of that, all to have one big messy plate at the give-up that you can't even finish. Let on my own style it correct with it all mixing collectively as you eat. In your try now not to pass over out on anything, the entirety turns into a confusing, unpalatable mess, and you're left staring at an empty plate. And that is precisely what's taking place in the world proper now. Humans are frequently disoriented in the face of the many possibilities they encounter, unable to filter them and focus on simply one. Many humans additionally suppose they can be true at everything, so they bounce from one talent to the next. However, due to the fact they lack the staying power and center of attention to attain a stage of deep understanding, they cease up leaving behind that possibility altogether. And so they get depressed, questioning why they by no means reached the degree they intended, decide that's simply the way of things, go on to the subsequent activity, and so the cycle begins again. So what we can analyze from this is that when you attempt one-of-a-kind fields and special opportunities without a doubt getting deep into them and giving yourself the time to draw close them, you can by no means certainly acquire the full advantage from them. Your mission to locate the course, the place you'll experience fulfilled, will usually be in restart mode. Like Miyamoto, we want to provide ourselves time to surely hold close what's in our arms and filter any noise that's backyard of it, regardless of how tempting it can be. Like Miyamoto, we must no longer sense content material by means of understanding simply the superficial component of a self-discipline when the splendor of it is ingrained inside. Like Miyamoto, we must commit our time to one skill and make hundreds of methods out of it. Of course, you can then cross to some other skill, like Miyamoto did when he moved to writing and philosophizing, however now not earlier than utterly greedy the talent at hand first. Stay focused, stay targeted. To quote Miyamoto, never stray from the way. Unlike many humans of excessive popularity in society, Miyamoto didn't pursue taking part in the perks of a precise life. Born into a revered family, he may want to have stayed there, eaten well, and slept in comfort, but he left at a very younger age to face the unknown, in order to fulfill his dreams. Miyamoto noticed matters differently, and possibly that's why he used to be who he was, and achieved what he achieved. Even after enjoyable his mission and gaining large notoriety, he nevertheless didn't pursue luxury. Indeed, when he was once invited to continue to be at the fanciest places, he solely did so for a short time earlier than he took off to any other place, to analyze new things and triumph over new skills. Miyamoto used to be a man of nearly surreal quantities of self-control, determination, and discipline, fulfilling his desires by means of staying targeted and prioritizing what used to be useful. Sure, he loved luxuries like properly meals when he encountered it. However, what things is that it did no longer dictate his actions. That's how Miyamoto lived, and that's how he'll constantly be remembered. Core to Miyamoto's philosophy used to be that in life, you have two roads. One that is eye-pleasing, crammed with cravings, correct food, and enjoyment, and it is pretty stacked with people, so is simply the famous choice. The different is shrouded in an impenetrable fog with no definable detail. From a distance, you would possibly suppose that the first avenue is honestly the nice one to follow, But unbeknownst to you, the second street leads to freedom, which means an internal peace. This avenue is no longer joyful. It requires determination, discipline, frequently even sacrifices. However, sooner or later, these that determine to take that street and prioritized what would be useful to them, even if it's towards the odds, will style existence in an awful lot deeper way than those who gave in to pursuing on the spot cravings and pleasures. For example, if you do not like the way you seem to be and determine to set some fitness dreams for yourself, every day you will be confronted with two alternatives: the desire of ingesting unhealthy and skipping your workout, or ingesting healthily and sticking to your routine. The 2D street requires you to sacrifice momentary pleasures at the altar of an uncertain goal. So it's okay if you get scared or anxious whilst questioning about it. In fact, if you aren't feeling at least some nervousness or concern, then possibilities are you're not pushing yourself outdoor of your remedy quarter at all, so some worry is a precise thing. It's a signal your eyes are utterly open, in your heart, and an appreciation in your thought that you will elevate forever. Live with integrity and maintain your honor. In our ultimate quote from Miyamoto for this video, he says, "You may abandon your own body, however you must preserve your honor." Miyamoto Musashi's philosophy, the Bushido, is a cornerstone of a crucial code of conduct followed through the samurais. The Bushido is a set of virtues that one may comply with in order to stay an ethical and noble life. This philosophy has 7 fundamental virtues: integrity, respect, heroic courage, honor, compassion, honesty, and loyalty. While this code requires a complete episode of its own, it is truthful to say that the image we have of samurais, their heroic behaviors, honorable deaths, and noble demeanors were all powered through the Bushido. While honor is particularly referred to as simply one of the 7 virtues, when you consider it, Bushido is all about honor. Honor is the glue between all different virtues in the code of conduct. Honor is self-respect, and when you recognize yourself, you elevate yourself with honesty and integrity. Honor is defending what's right, so when you are in such situations, you do not shy away, and instead, act with courage. Honorability now not stomping over vulnerable or inclined people, that when you are in a role of power, you are compassionate. And finally, honor is being prepared to chance the entirety to retain the dignity of those you care about. In different words, it is to be loyal to the bone. Honor and self-discipline are each reduced from the equal material, and creating one frequently leads directly to improving the other. For example, think about you work an ordinary desk job, and you've been in the identical function for a couple of years. By now the whole lot is activities, and you barely have to suppose about your day-to-day processes and you're getting bored, so you discover shortcuts and workarounds, begin arriving late and taking longer breaks, attempting to decrease the quantity of consideration you're giving your work to keep away from feeling bored. Next, meanwhile, your colleague is in the identical position, employed at the identical time, has been doing the exact equal shortcuts, however then the use of that more time to advance new thoughts and techniques, and now you're getting seamed over for that promotion. When you ask why, you're instructed that you lack discipline. In your misery, you determine to get proactive and take the Musashian method. You decide to be on time, to do your fantastic to supply excellent work, spend time attempting to discover ways to enhance your work, and to typically behave in an honorable way, with no dishonest or underhanded behavior. And here's the fascinating component. By means of behaving in an honorable way like this, you're actually becoming disciplined. In our example, there are some key phrases, and they are being on time, handing over quality work, and behaving well. Don't these virtues all fall below the banner of consistency? And isn't consistency a cornerstone of discipline? And as soon as that is done, you're dwelling an honorable life. It's vital to make positive that one doesn't stray from the path and stays disciplined. But it's simply as necessary now not to punish yourself when it doesn't work out. Acknowledge this is how matters are, and work toward enhancing matters alternatively of beating yourself up. Wasting time and electricity on punishing yourself is no distinctive to distracting oneself with immediate pleasures. They are each approaches of fending off doing the honorable thing. And dwelling honorably and residing with self-discipline is the treatment to our greed, covetousness, and selfishness. And as continually, if you love this video, please make positive to test out our full philosophies for existence playlist, and for extra movies to assist you discover success and happiness using. Thank for watching. Subscribe our channel Emergent Philosophies.